Hi, this is Swapnil Bhartiya, and we are here at Cisco Live. As you know, if you look at enterprise networks, they were designed for humans, for people 9 to 5. But as soon as AI agents came in, they broke everything because they never sleep. So today we have with us Nick Kucharewski, SVP and GM of Cisco Silicon, to talk about how enterprise network is evolving to keep up with the modern agentic AI. But before we go that, I would like to hear your experience, the vibe of the show.
The show, it's been super exciting. Like with this week, Cisco announced Cisco Cloud Control, which is a unified platform that brings together all of the intelligence of the Cisco broader platform, from the silicon to the system hardware to the software, to provide a single point of control for customers to have better security for their networks, to manage them more seamlessly, and to make use of agents, both Cisco developed and partner agents, in order to better manage their network and to solve problems more quickly. There's a lot of excitement around it.
Yeah, we covered that as well. We talked yesterday, but let's talk about networks and agents.
Yes.
What actually breaks, when agents start having the workload?
Yeah, so I think it's important to note that when we talk about agentic AI, we're not only talking about the cloud data center. You could be running agents, for instance, on the desktop, which are helping you with your day-to-day tasks. And an agent, in general, generates 450% more traffic than a person to complete the same task. When you consider on top of that, the agent might be running 24 hours a day. This means all new requirements for the network in terms of network capacity, but also in terms of security, because it's important that that agent is actually operating within company policy and it's doing it in a secure way.
And if you look at Silicon One, it also has like deep on-chip buffering to absorb all that traffic burst that you just talked about. Why is software not enough? Why do we need chip there?
Yes. Well, it's important to note that when we look at enterprise networks, regardless of whether you're talking about a branch, a large enterprise, or in the data center, the device that's handling those packets flowing through the network at terabits per second is ultimately the packet processing silicon, the switches and routers which handle that silicon. And that's what provides you the visibility, and it also gives you the control. And this is where Cisco Silicon One comes in. We have packet processing silicon developed in-house for those different parts of the network, the different switches and routers within the network. And that works together with the broader Cisco software product offering to provide you that visibility for the network and to provide the flexibility that you need to adapt to the needs of agentic AI running within the network.
I was talking to Amy yesterday, and I was like thinking, Cisco is a kind of unique position. A lot of companies, because you are sitting at the very center, right? Nothing, no traffic passes without you.
Yes,
and
exactly.
a lot of companies, they wish they had that visibility. So you have that visibility, you have all the telemetry data. And if you just look at adaptive programmability as well, talk a bit about how does that work in practice, and how it's also making not only customers' life easier, but also making a lot of other companies jealous and envious also, that they wish they had that capability.
Yeah, it's a great observation. When we look at Cisco Silicon One, what this means is we have silicon developed at Cisco in cooperation with the upper levels of our platform, right? We design silicon together with the system hardware, with the software, and with the overall system platform software that provides these services to our customers. A key part of that is ensuring that our silicon is programmable. What this means is the silicon, even after it's deployed, can adapt to the latest requirements of the network. What that means is you can respond to the latest needs for security, or you can actually deploy new features to the equipment after it's been deployed. Now, for our customers, this means that they can have the very fast adaptability that they need in the era of AI. And it also means that they have a longer lifespan for their deployed equipment. Knowing that you can actually change the functionality of that equipment, of that silicon, after it's deployed through our programmability is the kind of assurance our customers need to make sure that they can adapt to the newest needs of AI.
Sometimes you can do something with the hardware, but what additional is this bringing, which capability was missing earlier?
Yeah, so the way I like to think about it is telemetry, packet routing, and control. So with our Cisco Silicon One silicon, we provide the telemetry that the software requires to have a full view of the network. In terms of our packet handling And this provides control where you can take a decision to redirect a packet, you can choose to drop a packet, and you can choose to take actions flexibly based on the software that's sitting above that. That works in combination with the software to provide the broader services for our customers.
Let's talk about security, because these days security is not only part of it, it's moved to boardroom. Now the position of CISOs are there. And if I'm not wrong, security is fused directly into silicon as well. Like we can talk about MACsec, IPsec, and even post-quantum, because that is going to be a big threat. So talk a bit about why does enforcement have to live at that layer in that stack?
Yeah, that's a very important observation. And it really is driven by the change represented by agentic AI within the campus. In the past, we could think of the security requirements of a network as being represented by the firewalls at the perimeter of the network. What's inside the network you trust, and what's outside perhaps you don't trust, and therefore your security resides at the edges of the network. Now, moving to agentic AI, the requirements change because you can have agents operating inside the network that might be causing challenges. What that means is your security surface, the areas that you need to secure, are now anywhere inside the network. It's not only at the perimeter, it's not only at the edges. And that means that you have to have security built into those platforms inside the network. And that's why security in the silicon is actually so critical. We have features like MACsec and IPsec, and also a broader set of other security features that we can take advantage of to provide that service for our customers. You point out quantum. That's a good example of a future technology that Cisco is developing, because that really is going to prove to be essential over time as new and newer technologies have to have an appropriate security response for our customers.
Yeah, because quantum will come, and if your data is there, people are already kind of, gathering the data. They will start harvesting as soon as quantum computing is possible. So that's why, a lot of frameworks are being worked on. I also want to talk about how deeply is Silicon One in Cisco systems. I think more than 60 systems, something like that. You may have better numbers. And what impact is it making on customers? How is it making? We talked about how from agentic perspective. Now let's talk about from security perspective, what impact it has on customers.
Yes, absolutely. So the Cisco Silicon One line is comprised of 5 announced product families that are fully shipping in production. And those products serve both data center AI applications, as well as campus networks and service providers. And here, if you look around the show floor at all of the different systems, you'll see Silicon One noted next to those systems. And I think there are probably around 60 systems that you can see on display that have Silicon One inside. Now, this makes a difference when we talk about offerings like Cisco Cloud Control, because the overall cloud control offering relies on information that's drawn from across the entire network. And Silicon One is a key part of that, being able to provide the visibility that's needed to take security decisions, to make observations, to take decisions, and then to enforce changes within the network in response to the things that are being observed. So it all really works together as part of the full Cisco platform, bottom to top, to provide better security for our customers.
Now, if there is a network architecture which is evaluating, merchant Silicon today, of course, you have built a very good case, but still, when they are evaluating, what is the case for them for Silicon One?
Yes, for Silicon One, the first thing I encourage our customers to look at is the adaptability and programmability that we provide by our architecture. It's extremely difficult to provide programmability in packet processing when you're operating at multiple terabit rates, and Cisco has done it, and we've done it in production. And we've shown that this capability allows us to add features for our customers after the system has been built. And whether we're talking about a hyperscaler in the data center or an enterprise network manager, the programmability comes in handy because it allows you to be adaptive to the newest requirements and ultimately to move faster to get to market. Whether you're talking about a new AI data center build out, or you're talking about the latest security feature in your enterprise campus.
And what does it also mean for existing customers?
So for existing customers, those who have built their networks based on systems with Silicon One have the assurance of knowing that they can actually upgrade those systems in the field with the newest capabilities because they're using that programmability in Silicon One.
What about those customers who don't have Silicon One in their network?
Well, I encourage customers to have a close look at it for sure, but it's important to note that Cisco is really based on the foundation of open interoperability, right? Our platforms are based on open open standards. We make contributions to new standards wherever possible because we really believe in interoperability, because we know that our customers will build their networks based on the technologies that they feel are most important. And that's another theme that you saw with our announcements this week, that within Cisco Cloud Control, we enable support for third-party agents. This is just another example of how we really can endorse a broader ecosystem and provide our customers a single point of control and a single solution so that they can manage both Cisco technologies and others that they're bringing into their solution.
And what's on your roadmap? What's next?
Yes, on our roadmap, we're continuing to build out the Silicon One product line. Over time, we'll be adding more families that serve more parts of the network, and we'll continue to drive forward new features and new requirements into those next generation offerings to ensure that Cisco has the platform with the performance, the security, and the visibility that's required for the next generation networks, both in the cloud and also in the enterprise.
Nick, thank you so much for, of course, talking about Silicon One and also how the network is evolving with the evolving workloads. Once again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to chatting with you again.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thanks very much for your time.